The Rothschilds are the world's richest family. There are rumors that the Rothschild family is worth $500 trillion and controls 80% of the world's wealth. Is this even real? Mayer Amschel Rothschild was the first member of the famous banking family to establish a bank. In the 1760s, he established his banking business, and Forbes named him the 7th most influential businessman of all time in 2005. He is widely considered as the father of modern banking, the guy who pioneered principles like diversity, fast communication, secrecy, and huge volume in global marketplaces. But how did they do it? How did a poor German street trader family become the founders of modern capitalism? How did Mayer and his sons build a global banking dynasty? And lastly, how wealthy are they today? Before we start, make sure you smash that like button and hit the subscribe and notification button if you haven't already done so, as it means that YouTube sends you more of these kinds of videos, and it helps our channel. So, now let's get started. The Rothschilds were a family of bankers that originated from Frankfurt, Germany. Their power and influence spread across the globe, and they soon became one of the wealthiest and most influential families in history. Their geopolitical impact influenced the result of wars, the creation of countries, and the establishment of connections and conflicts among states that continue to resonate in modern society. They were alchemists who converted money into power and kept it for numerous generations. But the Rothschilds were not always surrounded by money and luxury. Their story begins in the medieval ages when they resided in the Jewish ghetto of Frankfurt, Germany. Their surname is derived from their ancestral house, and houses were not indicated by numbers back then, but by symbols above the door. Rothschild's house had a red shield, which in German, with the original spelling, is Rothschild. The Crown Prince of Hesse recruited Rothschild patriarch Mayer Amschel Rothschild in 1769. When the young prince took power, he chose Mayer as a court Jew to oversee his kingdom's finances. While such a position would be immensely offensive today, it was one of the highest honors a Jewish person could have in Catholic-dominated Europe at the time. Every wealthy nobleman had a court Jew who was in charge of their finances. While most aristocrats needed to maintain their God-obeying look or risk losing not just the respect of their peers, but also their lands and wealth, many Jews, such as the Rothschilds, viewed this as a chance to gain vast fortune. Mayer was able to build a bank and send his son, Nathan, to London with the money he made. This helped Mayer in transferring Wilhelm's wealth to London and even supported the British in their fight during the Napoleonic Wars. Following the Napoleonic Wars, Mayer's other 4 sons created new banks in Paris, Naples, and Vienna, primarily helping the aristocracy in the financial crisis. In times of war, or when entire countries were on the edge of bankruptcy, they lent massive sums of money to countries where they had financial capital in exchange for lump sum interests. So it turned out that the Rothschilds financed and profited from every war in Europe during the 19th century. Despite the fact that their banks are the principal source of the Rothschilds' wealth, over the years, they've expanded into mining, transportation, real estate, art, and stocks. They hold a minority stake in the Suez Canal, and rumor has it that they own 30% of all major banks worldwide. The Rothschilds' lifestyle is steeped in mystery. They are excellent at concealing both their actual wealth, which may be larger than the whole southern hemisphere, and their personal lives. Hey, here's a quick reminder before we continue. Make sure you smash that like button and hit the subscribe and notification button if you haven't already done so, as it means that YouTube sends you more of these kinds of videos, and it helps our channel. Okay, let's get back to the video. Nonetheless, we get a peek of their lavish lifestyle behind closed doors from time to time. Unlike many pop stars, the Rothschilds do not waste their money on flashy and expensive things with little financial value. The majority of their purchases have one and only one purpose: to bring them more money over time. They have a large art collection and are one of the most major contributors to art museums worldwide. During the Nazi occupation of France, for example, they donated the $40,000 4th century Lycurgus cup to the British Museum, along with many other items. While Hitler came to take his choice from the finest possessions, roughly 3,500 works of art were stolen from the Rothschilds' properties. Most art items were recovered after the war, but others remain undiscovered until this day. The Rothschilds are perhaps the world's largest gold owners. They not only possess gold, but also have interests in gold mines. They don't have gold cars or AK-47s like some wealthy narco boss's children, but they do have loads and tons of gold bars. Jacob Rothschild recently transferred significant quantities of British pounds and US dollars for gold, which many financial analysts see as troubling for Western economies. Now, around 8% of Jacob's assets are in gold, and the Rothschilds have one of the most extensive real estate portfolios in the world, including palaces, estates, chateaus, and villas from the United States to Israel. Their estates are the envy of any royal dynasty. In Buckinghamshire alone, they have around 13 lavish homes, each valued far over $10 million. The family is believed to own $20 to $25 billion in real estate throughout the world. The family just sold a piece of property in Austria the size of Manhattan for a cool $112 million. Nat Rothschild purchased a super yacht valued at more than $1 billion. The Planet 9, as the yacht is known, can seat 16 guests and staff of 26 people. 2 Caterpillar engines propel the massive ship at up to 16 knots, and the boat also includes a helicopter deck, enabling guests to enter and leave as they want. Nat is the proud owner of a high-end luxurious private jet valued more than $60 million. The Bombardier Global 6000 is one of the most expensive jets on the market, seating up to 14 passengers in luxury. Nat's acquisitions, however, pale in comparison to his lavish great-grand-uncle's expenditures. Walter Rothschild, on the other hand, remains one of the most thrifty Rothschilds to this day. With his passion for biology, he spent vast sums of money on exotic creatures, such as a big tortoise, hundreds of birds, and even zebras. 3 zebras were taught by the eccentric billionaire to draw his chariot around London. Walter collected the largest collection of specimens ever seen in the world. In his latter years, he sold his bird collection to the American Museum of Natural History in New York. Following his death, the remainder of his incredible collection was donated to the Natural History Museum. Long before Walter, the Rothschilds were famed for creating conspiracies as early as the 18th century. Their immense wealth was responsible for several anti-Semitic myths during that time period, such as how Jews controlled the world's money. The family is linked to the Illuminati, the New Planet Order, 5-dimensional lizards who rule the world, and a slew of other outlandish theories. In reality, the Rothschilds are merely a large family of wealthy people who choose to live their luxurious lives in secret and avoid intense attention. Today, the Rothschilds' vast fortune is the subject of many myths. Some sources claim the wealthiest family owns about $500 trillion US dollars, which is not only difficult to believe, but also practically impossible given that the total world capital is estimated to be between 1 and 2 quadrillion. So a family holding a quarter to a half of the world's wealth is insane. Most sources estimate their fortune to be between $500 billion and $1 trillion USD. That's about 2 to 4 times more than the following wealthiest individual, such as Elon Musk. What is the craziest Rothschild conspiracy you've ever heard of? The word Rothschild alone conjures up images of unfathomable wealth and power. However, keep in mind that their huge fortune did not happen overnight. It took time, work, and a massive amount of critical thinking to become who they are today. We may constantly appreciate how wealthy they were, but we must always remember the impact they had on our modern world. Thank you for being all ears throughout the entire video. If you'd like to learn more about the nature of this business, subscribe now and click on the notification bell to be updated with my latest uploads. To create is effort, to copy is genius. Albert Einstein. If you want to expand your income by engaging with some side hustles, feel free to contact me so we'll get things moving right away. Remember, if you want to change your life, let's make a change together. You need to make a change.